What's up, everybody? Logan coming at you guys again with another video here. And today we're going to talk about some of the trades that we did this week. Currently, the scalp account that I started just about a month ago. It'll be a month on May 15th. May 15th or 16th. Today is June 14th. It's Friday. How we got the scalp account up, $136,000, as you guys can see down here. Now, I know you can see my buying power effect is about 190,000 right now, but I do have those split up between some call credit spreads on one side and some put credit spreads on the other, kind of scattered throughout here. So you're going to see that, and they're on different expirations. So it's a little bit different there. But today we're going to talk about some of these scalps I did, and this was one I put on earlier today right here, the 5405, 5395, and then also the 5390, 5380s. That I put on to capture some premium because I want to take a trade into next week as well. But if you guys have yet to leave a like now, I'd really appreciate that. A comment and subscribe if you're brand new here. I'd really appreciate that. Here's some of the orders that I got filled today, of course, for 614. If you guys would like to come follow the trades, there's a link down in the description for the Discord. If you use code AMP, you're going to get 10% off the first month. So that is down there below. And I post a lot of these scalps, so you'll see a 0DTE throughout the week, a 1DTE. These are from earlier in the week on 610, 611 on here. And those are a lot of the trades that I'm taking in that portfolio as well. So that link is down in the description. Use code AMP, which is AMP, and you'll get that discount there as well. And come hang out with the community and have some fun. So Amplified's always been a really chill market Discord, right? We're just very laid back and nothing's really high stress for us, which has always been my goal with having a little trading group. So today we're going to actually talk about, we're going to spend a little bit more time in depth here. We're going to spend most time talking about some technical setups and what I look at, because I actually got a question in my last video that said, hey, Logan, could you go over some of your charts more in depth, explain the setups, explain maybe how to use the TTM squeeze. Maybe they've understood the expected move quite a bit, because I know we talk about that in each video, but they were like, hey, could you hit me up with some knowledge on kind of understanding like what a good VIX is for a PCS, or how I kind of visualize how long I want to stay in a trade and what my goal is as far as getting in and out so you can take these trades. We'll talk about level to level price action, but I did not trade FOMC day. So if you're curious how I did that day, I had no positions on, no risk. I would have been bullish, and I know I'm saying that after the fact that it was a green move, but that was what I was leaning. But I really don't find too much value in the FOMC days from an option side. But hopefully you guys did well that day or didn't get ran over too hard. If you did, because this market was expected to move, and we're in a bull market, so you should expect most of the moves to be upwards, right? About 80% of them. So we're going to talk about it today, but we did some call credit spreads with the Discord overnight, and I have this drawn out, this like 5450 as my current resistance on SPX. So anytime price got up into this area, I was looking at call credit spreads. We took some as a scalp yesterday morning, took those off down here. And then right at close yesterday, we added some here. And then we gapped down today, and we're going to let those expire as well. So the market, we got an hour or 2 hours left of the day. There's a really low shot. We rally 50 points to get tested there. Looking at a couple of these setups and kind of understanding pricing. So I was looking, right, and we're going to start with our charts this week and looking at price levels, because price levels are always going to be number one. Let me pull up my sticky notes real quick. So we're going to start out with number one, which we're going to do price levels. So we're going to start with our price levels. So this is probably the most important part of any sort of scalping, which is you want to get a good entry and a good exit. And why should you take the entry that you're taking, right? So for me, those three things are going to come down to the price. Like, where is price at? What's our options priced in at? And then also, what's our expected move and where is our support? So I guess technically four things, because I'm doing most of my trades on a bullish side. Like even today on a lot of my little scalps, I end up picking up down here, right at the low ends of these wicks. And, I line that up with like a 5390, 5405. So right on like the wicks of these candles for some of these scalps. But for me, your price level is always going to be your most important. So right now, right, we talked about this in the previous video where we're always looking at, are we in a bullish or bearish market? Because that should be where the majority of our trades are coming from. If we're in a bull market, doing upside trades, you should want the market to move up because that is the ocean, right? That's the flow of the ocean. It's the flow of the current. Why would you want to go against that trend unless you had a really good reason to? So for me, I've been doing call credit spreads the last 2 weeks for the first time in a while, right? And we've had this giant move up where I was just put side, put side, put side, which is good, right? If you're selling put credit spreads, which is I sell, put spreads and call credit spreads as well. Then I found some resistance here that I drew last week, which ended up becoming our breakout level. So now we have a giant open gap back here, right? So you can, X marks the spot for a gap or however you want to mark that out for, hey, the market should find its way back down if it wants to fill this gap to 53.75. So for me, like if I was going to add a PCS for next week, which I have on currently, I would want it to be at 53.75 or lower because I understand that this gap can fill at any time and it might do it Monday, right? It could do it Tuesday. I don't think it's going to do it by the end of the day today. I mean, it definitely could. It's just super unlikely that we're going to see that outcome. Okay, so now that we've talked that through a little bit, I marked up here 54.50. Let me pull up these stickies again. So we're going to do this as far as like very specific resistance areas, right? That's going to be our second thing that we write down today. So if you're looking at following price, right, and really trying to dictate what your entries are, your exits are, we need very specific areas of resistance, also known as supply, right? You have a supply zone. So there's a lot of sellers. That means there's a lot of people that are okay with getting rid of this at that price or that want to start their short position there. Anytime we've been up in this area, right? Because we're building a new base. And we'll explain what basing is as well. You guys may already know this, but it can help you out with your scalping too. Now, granted, we find this new level, so we shoot off all the way Wednesday up to 54.50, break down, come and retest it again, break back down, right? You guys can clearly see this almost like a double top pattern. Same thing. So overnight, we actually move up, but then we open at 54.40, come back down, bounce off 54.05, and then we do that again here. So now the market's building a base. Now it's basing to move again. That's what it is. So most days you're going to see more chop than actual moves or a big trend shift. You have to identify the days you want to sit out, which, I knew FOMC was coming up and CPI was this day, like Wednesday. So I sat out. I choose to avoid the big moving days because psychologically it helps me make better decisions. I don't like to go against the grain if the market's up a lot. And I also don't like to short the market in a bull market if we're not at really solid resistance, right? Just because the ocean's floating upwards. Or I guess forward, or you don't want to swim against the current, right? You're more likely to drown. Whatever analogy you guys want to make to that. But so for me, looking at the market here, I would be cautiously bullish into next week because we're basing to move again. And I would say it's pretty likely that we would continue up higher because we're in a bull market. The only thing is, and I've talked to you guys about this quite a bit, is we have these longer term moving averages. So this is where number 3 comes in, which is where are your moving averages on your specific chart. So I use the 10-day, 30-minute. I've been very clear and transparent that I've been using this for years. But I want to pay attention to, are we above them? Because then if we are, we should continue to float up. And if we're below them, most likely we're going to float down, drift sideways. And that's what we're doing here, right? We're kind of drifting sideways because we're trying to base off of that last move. Because we need to find a place where price gets accepted by both the bulls and the bears. Because otherwise the market would just move in one direction. And we all know that the market does not do that. If it was that easy, everybody would win all the time. But there's a lot of fighting. The market loves to go up, drop, chop, all of those things combined. All right, so we'll zoom in a little bit and we'll pull our stickies tab back up. So where are your moving averages? Now, I understand here that 5350 and 5300 are pretty far away. So I think at some point next week, after we get the bullish move and maybe retest these highs at 54, 54.40, 54.50, we've had a really solid pull down. I mean, from 54.50 down to, 54.02, 03, that's almost 50 points. So that's a really decent pull down in the VIX environment that we're currently in, which is a very low volatility. There's a lot of chop kind of hanging out. So for me, I grabbed those PCSs I took today at the bottom of this previous candle, right? Because I had a really good understanding that this is our new support and that we have a lot of psychological tricks in this market. And, we gapped down all the way down to the first EM band, right? Our expected move. Once we dropped exactly what was expected, I didn't mind grabbing a PCS down here to try to take a shot at the market. So, we're still hovering around those averages. Technical analysis, of course, isn't perfect, but for me, it makes a lot of sense as far as where I want to position myself, how I want the market to look, and then overall how my trades perform is a reflection of how well my technical analysis is, right? I think with a lot of my entries, and I've said this before, your entries are the most important part of scalping because the price you get in for when you're selling credit spreads is really going to dictate the price you get out for. If you get in for $3 and you close it for $4, you're only losing $1, right? If you get in for $3 and you close it for $2, and we're talking options, so this would be $100, right, per contract. Then you made 100 or $1. But if you're trying to fill these trades that are super far out of the money and you're getting 20 cents for maybe $1,000 worth of risk, you're getting $20. You don't really have a lot of leeway if that trade goes against you as far as what can potentially happen to you as far as, losing all of your collateral or getting stopped out really quickly on maybe a 5-point move down. So finding that if you find your entries are your most important part, I think it makes exiting a trade very, very straightforward, in a very easy manner to kind of approach it versus typical market approach, which is just set a stop and grab a random area for most people and then just hope that it works out. And we know that hoping and praying is not a good strategy as far as being profitable in the markets over a long period of time. All right, so we have gone over the last three things. So we have price levels, we have where our average is, and our very specific resistance areas / supply. Because you want to eye these up and you want to be very neutral as an options trader. And what I mean by that is you pick the market you're in, and that becomes how you feel about the market. So if you're in a bull market, you should feel bullish, which should mean 80% of your trades are bullish. So 20% of them should be bearish, right? Or somewhere in there. You don't want to be 80% bearish in a bull market because then you're really going to get ran over. And that's where people talk about blowing up accounts or really hurting themselves financially. So you have to keep that neutrality. I've talked to a lot of guys when the market has pulled down 500-600 points in maybe a span of 3 months that would just get wiped out because they were on the wrong side of the trade or vice versa for a very long period of time. Where maybe the market had gone up 500 points and they're like, this needs to turn around. And now it's up another 500 points since then. That is probably the most difficult way when you're dealing with trading options. You need to make sure you keep yourself, with the current. So the channel, right? You want to flow with the channel. So yes, can you pick the top? Yeah, absolutely. You can in a short period of time, right? You can see, even a squirrel could say, hey, the market's gone up from 53.50 to 54.50 in a day. We're probably going to cool off from here. So you could start taking shorts above here, right? And that's a lot of what my approach is waiting for the move to happen, trade while it's basing, and then try to position yourself when we're going to get the move. Number 4, this will be our final one, and then we'll cut the video here, but are we squeezing? And then not only are we squeezing, that's a good question. Are we squeezing? And then where are we squeezing? So squeezes dictate a large move is coming, right? So we can zoom out a little bit and I can show you guys that. The 10-day, 30-minute has that, but I like to use it more on these time frames. We're currently squeezing right? If we come back here, we were squeezing on multiple frames last week, and then so here we are. Here's what a squeeze is right here. See all of this red and black. I have my buddy shared me the Squeeze Pro, so that's what I end up using. But you see all of this squeezing. This lasted 3 days, and then we got a massive move. FOMC was over 100 points. Now we're squeezing again on this specific time frame, the 20-day, 30-minute, which means we should anticipate another big move coming. Now, I would check multiple time frames. Whoops, restore cells. I would check multiple time frames because just because we're squeezing on one time frame doesn't mean much. Last week, though, we squeezed also on the hourly chart, which dictated this big move, and we have began to start another one as of today on the hourly chart. So I would check over multiple time frames as far as where the squeezes are happening. Even back here, you can go on the 15-day, 10-minute and see that we've had a couple ones here and there. Nothing that's been too meaningful though, right? Like, these are all very tiny. I'd say the shorter the time frame, the less meaningful a squeeze is. But those will dictate and tell you which way the market's going to go. And then I use that momentum, right? I try to look at where the momentum is starting to happen after we have one, or maybe, hey, we've been basing and we're going to set new highs. We're probably going to go up on the bullish side. So yeah, I just want to give you guys that quick rundown. We'll pull up the stickies again. Okay, cool. So we went over a few things today and a few ideas. I don't want to make this video too long, and we can do an even more in-depth and using the squeeze if you guys would like to do that. But today we covered price levels, very specific resistance areas in supply, where your moving averages are, and then are we squeezing? And if so, we should expect a big move. So those 4 things should really help your scalping in this market. Bull markets are always a little easier to scalp just because everything's generally up. So any dip you get, you can just buy the dip. We recapped everything today. That's going to be everything for me in this video. I really do appreciate all the support as always. We're going to have new series coming on the channel. I want to interview some traders again. I had a lot of fun doing that in the past. So if you guys have yet to leave a like, comment, or subscribe, I'd appreciate it if you did that now. The code to the Discord or the link to that's in the description. You can use code AMP for a discount. And then I really do appreciate all the support that I've had on the channel. We're going to announce some of those gift card winners too from the last couple of videos here in this next week. So I'm excited to get that out and go into everybody. But that's going to be everything for me. I appreciate all the love and support from you guys, in this crazy, crazy world. So thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. And I will chat with you guys in the next one.